Oh, guys, good, you hear? I am so excited. Guess what?
I hope this isn't about your podcast again.
Why, did you finally listen to it?
I came in like a wrecking ball.
The Grandma Next Door is recorded in front of a live studio audience. Welcome to the Grandma Next Door. You're listening to my mommy and daddy.
And now our feature presentation.
And here's your host, my mommy and daddy, Chris and Stella Green.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 76 of The Groomer Next Door. I'm your co-host, Chris Green. Sitting next to me is the mother of all mothers, the Mother's Day of trophies, the wonderful, the greatest, and the wonderful mom, Sarah.
Hello.
Well, you were wondering where I was going to take that.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Okay. Well, we are joining you all wherever you are. It is currently raining outside, and we are actually doing our show outside. We're in a nice little enclosed area, but we're hoping that the rain dropping will actually go into the podcast so you guys can hear it. Have some thunder, some lightning.
Well, they will be able to see the lightning.
Well, yeah, of course they won't. But I'm hoping they can actually hear some of it.
I don't think you can hear lightning. Oh, the cracks.
You can hear the yeah. Yeah, of course.
Because some places, like California, you don't hear the lightning cracks.
No.
You just see the lightning. Here, you actually hear them crack. And most of the time, it's always around our house.
Or behind the house.
Yes, it's always in our general location.
Proximity. Use a big word today.
Proximity.
Yes. Well, happy Mother's Day to you.
Well, thank you.
You know, this is it's always weird, you know, when I look at you and I go, you're a mom. I knew you when you were a kid, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I mean, it's a bizarre nature to have known you.
It's still odd, even 7 years later. I still don't feel that mom responsibility. I'm a mama bear. You mess with my family, I'm going to go nuts on you. It's been proven.
Oh yes.
But it is still very, very new for some reason.
It has never become surreal, that's for sure. Well, all right. Tell you guys what we're going to be doing this week. Well, of course.
Well, first I want to say Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there.
Yes. Sorry about that. That is true. Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there, whether you have a two-legged or a four-legged child.
Relying on you.
Exactly.
Both just as needy.
They are. So, happy Mother's Day to all of you. I know that you guys are starting to catch this on the Monday, but, belated, even though we are recording on Mother's Day. So this week, we will do our weekly roundup, as we always do. We will do the news pup date, which is going to be, different news that's going on out there. We have some news that we're going to actually break to all of you.
Dun, dun, dun!
And we're going to discuss puppy mills. Now, you were actually talking about this the other day, so that's where it all came up. Something happened locally, and we'll talk about that, and we'll go from there. So, let's dive right on in. Puppy. Hi. I speak English for a living. And maybe you guys heard that. That is why I wanted to record outside. That is not a missile dropping in the Middle East, folks. That is thunder.
And for those who are in the West Coast, this is the typical Midwest storm. While our buddies out in Colorado, who are they're experiencing 2 feet of snow right now, or a foot of snow.
They really haven't looked.
Rena and Kelly were like, Happy Mother's Day to us. There's snow everywhere.
It's May.
And poor Kelly is working right now, and they're working without power.
Oh no.
Yeah.
How do you groom without power?
Cordless battery.
Oh yeah. I never
Which
thought about
I
that.
might be investing in here soon because we have power outages every once in a while, and this way we can still groom.
That
Just
is
bring
true.
in one of those battery lights. We got this.
We got this. We got this. Well, weekly roundup, folks. Let me see. I'm trying to think about this week. It was, oh my goodness.
Best word to round it up or sum it up is busy,
I would use cluster.
exhausting,
Yes.
late days.
Yes. that would definitely be some of them. A lot of things start moving and shaking this week. Some good, obviously we had a lot of good. Lot of changes that will be coming around. And I'm actually looking forward to it. Now,
The only thing that really stuck out in my mind about this week was our cat shave that we had.
oh, the cat shave.
This cat was amazing.
Yes.
Beautiful, just such a good girl. Most cats do not like to be shaved. They do not like water. They do not like dogs barking. They do not like being held down. They do not like being touched in certain spots. Pretty much cats do not like being groomed for the most
That
part.
almost sounds like me, except I do like water, so that's the only thing I can say I lack. But everything else, I'm a cat.
I'm not even going there. Anywho, so this cat obviously hasn't been groomed in several years, and it's a long-haired. It was some type of Himalayan.
Himalayas?
Himalayan.
Himalayas? Okay.
That's smush face.
Have you been drinking?
No,
I have.
I just woke up from a nap.
Okay.
So.
I wish I had been drinking. That would be awesome.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Margaritas.
No, we gotta work tomorrow.
So.
Good point. Anyways.
Yeah, we're responsible. That summed it up. We're irresponsible. No, we're not irresponsible. We're not getting plastered before work.
I may have a margarita.
One margarita sounds good.
It does sound good.
And when you're eating food, it soaks up the alcohol, so you never really get buzzed or even drunk.
True. Okay, so anyways.
Okay, so this cat was matted to the bone. It took 3 hours just to do the front half of the cat. And it became so much time consuming and took so long, and the cat was so annoyed after 3 hours of shaving that I actually had to call the customer and tell her, look, I'm sorry, we have gone as far as we could today. You'll have to bring your cat back tomorrow to finish the shave. I was generous and only charged $60.
Which
that
was
should have been about
so
$75.
Easily $75.
Because it was that matted.
Yeah.
I have never taken this long to shave down a matted dog before, and I've seen some really bad dogs in my lifetime. And ones that have been neglected for years, and it still didn't take me this long. So, the first portion, the cat was real good. It started biting at me after the end, so I'm like, okay, kitty needs a break. Groomer needs a break. Groomer's hand's about ready to fall off. The cat did really good. All it wanted to do was to headbutt.
All it wants to do is have some fun.
It's to headbutt and cuddle. Didn't mind the other dogs. Didn't mind the barking. Didn't mind the loud noises or Keith coming in and he talks loud. So didn't mind that.
Didn't mind having somebody come over and pet it either.
No, didn't mind it at all.
Yeah.
Perfect cat. And I was talking to the mom. And the mom's like, there is no cat groomer in Rolla. There is not a single cat groomer. So when we finally found out that you groom cats, it was a couple years too late. And we couldn't save the coat. Well, I told her, I said, if you want every 6 months, bring her in for a shave. So therefore...
Here comes the boom. Wait for it. So anyway. Go on. Keep going.
Okay.
It's a back building one.
Okay. So, I'm waiting for the loud
I was
heart
actually,
pounding.
I was waiting for that. That was a good flash. Oh man, I was waiting for that. All right, go on.
So I told her, bring your cat back in about 6 months when it should have about a half inch to an inch of hair, and we will shave him down again so that it doesn't get to this point. She asked me, how did it get this way? I said, well, your cat sheds. It's not cleaning itself properly, and it has very flaky skin. So that has a lot to do with diet. So with the oil, the flaky skin, and the constant hair falling out, it just made a perfect remedy for a full body mat. If I wanted to and the cat would have allowed it, I could have shaved the entire body and make it one solid piece. And you would be able to see a cat sitting on my table after the internal part of the cat has been
So it would have
taken
been like
away.
a perfect rug.
Yes.
That would have been kind of cool.
Yeah. So
No.
definitely, folks, do your research. Try to look for a cat groomer if you need your cat to get shaved if they start getting knots. A lot of times what happens when their tangles start getting bad and getting too close to their skin, the cats will start chewing their hair and they'll start chewing the mat off themselves. Now, the dangerous part about that is it is so close to the skin, it looks like you actually took a razor in reverse and shaved the hair so close it looks like a man's face after they got done shaving.
If they did it right.
Yeah. Mr. Scruffy.
Yeah, I know.
So it's always best to intervene beforehand. Constantly feel your cat. See if they have little knots underneath the armpits, around the tail, around the face. This poor cat had knots all in its cheeks. So this cat was so good, it stood still why I had vibrating clippers on its jaw.
Yeah, the sweetest cat. I mean, it really was.
Perfect cat. I wish every cat was like this.
Very
More
much.
cats would get groomed, I'm sure. So, yes, this cat was a long-haired cat that was matted, but I've also seen short-haired cats get matted with the same remedy of the whole flaky skin, oil, and constant shedding with no proper maintenance by the cat during the said process. Most of the time, it's elderly cats that can't exactly reach certain spots. So when your cat becomes a certain age, you really need to make sure to start grooming them yourself at home. Because when you take a senior cat to a groomer, it's not like taking a senior dog. It's harder on a senior cat than it is on a senior dog to get groomed. So in order to make your cat not as stressed out, either start taking it to the groomer while it's young, and it gets used to the whole process every few months, or do it yourself at home. Cat grooming is a lot easier than dog grooming if you just do the brushing out. Cats typically like the brush most of the time.
Well, I mean, start them young. Don't start them when they're already 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
You know, you want to start them young when it comes to brushing. I mean, that goes for a dog and a cat. You start them young, and it's, you know, we've said it before, it's a bonding experience between you and your pet. But, you know, they don't understand that what you're doing is actually good for them. It's like sending your kid in to go brush his teeth. It's good for you, but they don't know that. It's
Right.
Go have fun with it.
Right.
So, same thing applies to your dog or cat. Cat in this instance. You do that, you actually protect its fur, and there you go.
Mm-hmm. And that was pretty much it. Two session grooming of a cat. First for me.
Yeah, that was just weird. I think the one thing that stood out for me is my very first dog of the week was a big dog. That was my big thing. It was the golden retriever.
Well, it seems like we're the only people in town
Yeah.
who do large dogs.
Yeah.
Now, I'm talking outside, Rolla in general might do it, but I know my old shop doesn't do it.
No.
Another shop in town plastered all over the place that they're not taking any more new clients.
Right.
And then other places people just don't trust.
Right.
So we're just got this abundance of clients that we don't know what to do with, and we found a remedy to help that.
Yeah.
To accommodate.
Yeah,
such
there's
things.
the word. I had a word in my head. It just, it won't come out.
I don't know why I keep saying remedy.
I don't know.
We have an answer.
I have an answer.
We'll
explain in a moment. Yeah.
Later.
Now, I have to always, reference our Facebook page. A lot of different things I posted this week. A lot of different stories and a lot of different things going on. It was kind of fun watching all of you guys kind of, hit the page and stuff like that. Don't know if you guys have all checked out our website, thegroomernextdoor.squarespace.com. Kind of started to really want to pick up on that a little bit more. That's a really important thing that I actually work on. Along with the Facebook page, I mean, it's a lot of work to actually keep this thing going. You guys hear us once a week on here. You can actually follow us every day on Facebook. And on the website, I'm going to start really pushing a lot more on that.
And the same thing with Shadowwood's Facebook page.
Yes.
You can go on there and see the dogs that we groom and the different stuff that we go through and the different toys that are out there and food products and all sorts of
unique things.
Stuff.
Yeah, it's always interesting. Let me see. That's about all I have on the weekly roundup.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, really, the cat was the star.
Yeah, that was the lesson for the week.
Yeah, it really was. Well, I guess we can move on to the news then. So let's dive right into the news. All right, coming to us live in the Groomer Next Door newsroom is Sarah. All right, Sarah, so tell us about the news that we actually are going to be breaking right here on the actual podcast.
Well, should I be the one saying it, or should you be the one saying it?
That's a good question. Well, how about you lead us into it, how this all came about?
We're busy.
We're busy. Well, great lead-in. That is how you do it.
We are so busy at work. Our books are so far out in advance. We are turning away dogs left and right every single day.
It's an average of 2 to 4 on average, and that could go up per day.
And one time I calculated a good $175, $200 that we lost in a single day because we weren't able to accommodate them within the first 2 weeks of booking appointments.
Yes.
So, the answer to that problem is...
I guess I have to become a groomer.
Yes. And how would you go about doing that?
Well, I am going to be going to a grooming academy, so I am going to be departing.
Where is the grooming academy?
It is going to be in Springfield, Missouri. I am going to be leaving here in approximately 2 weeks. We are finalizing everything that needs to be finalized right now. Getting all the money together. It's not going to be cheap, folks.
No.
Not going to be cheap at all.
No.
A very hefty loan is being processed right now. And so, yeah, it's kind of weird thinking about that this podcast called The Groomer Next Door. It's not plural because it's always been about you. And here now I'm going to become a groomer. Now I'm going to be gone for 3 months while I take this class.
Dun, dun, dun. Sarah's going to be all alone at Shadowwood with Craig and her new bather.
Well, I was going to announce that part right now.
I want to announce some part of the news too.
I was gonna lead. Would you follow? Let me lead this.
Oh, so, here you are. You're going to Grooming Academy. All of a sudden, you're the groomer, and you can
yes,
totally
because now there's a plural. Now it's pluralized. The groomers next door. No, it'll never change, folks. Never gonna change. All right, so to mediate all the problems that we're gonna have, because obviously I'm the bather right now over at Shadowwood. So because I'm going to be departing, and when I come back, I'm going to be a groomer. So what are we going to do now that we actually have that open position in the bathing area?
Hire a new bather.
What? No way. Well, tell us a little bit, without saying their name, but just tell us a little bit about this person. You know them pretty well.
I know them pretty well. She is a very good person from the parts that I do know of her. We talked briefly a few different times. She is very active in the rescue world. She is a avid dog lover, and she comes from a salon that I did.
Okay, I wasn't going to go that way, but okay.
Well, it's funny, she came from the same place I started working here in Missouri. So I know her quality of work is there, because I had to go through the same boot camp she did on quality control.
Right.
So I know she has it there. There's just a few minor tweaks that I've done that enhanced the bathing process that I taught you.
Right. Which I'm sure she's going to be able to step right in without any kind of problem.
Exactly. So she'll be washing all my dogs, and I'll be able to continue grooming 6 dogs, 7 dogs a day. So we're not going to be losing anything at the salon while you take your 3-month hiatus and
sabbatical. Yes.
And enjoying the lovely experience of learning how to groom a dog.
And intricate cuts. That's the thing. Where I'm going to be going, this person is really, really good about intricate cuts. We've actually been looking into this for quite a while now.
Yeah, the instructor herself has been grooming for, let's say 30 years, 40 years.
I don't know. You've talked to her. We went over to the actual facility back in February to take a look at it. It didn't look like this was going to happen until sometime next year, but the circumstances have just become so crucial to actually get going that it was just one of those moments we had to do it now. We had to pull the trigger, and by the end of summer I can come back, pick it up from there. We can line everything up, and it'll work out really well.
What's great about the school that you go to is that she deals with a lot of technical scissoring.
Yes.
And your scissoring itself is so important to having a good haircut.
Yes.
There's only so much you can do with the guard comb and clippers, or blades and clippers. You need to know to scissor. And that's one thing that this town seems to be lacking is proper scissoring. Carol, the groomer that I used to work for, she could scissor something amazing. Now, granted, she needs to retire. Her eyesight isn't exactly what it used to be.
She's not young either. She's definitely of retirement age.
So, once she retires, that's going to be a huge amount of client list that isn't going to be able to stay there unless she hires and trains another groomer too, which I don't see that happening. So over at this grooming school in Springfield, she'll be able to teach you the actual proper way to scissor.
Right.
And to blend, and, you know, a typical scissoring poodle cut, which is needed. Even though a lot of people around town don't care for the real fancy haircuts, they want something more functional.
We've obviously been doing this a while.
But you'll be taking my Great Pyrenees Princess. You'll be taking...
I just had Princess on Friday. Thank you. Happy birthday, by the way, for me.
Yes. Friday, I felt so bad for Chris. Oh, this guy's gonna piss me off.
Well, anyway, the whole...
the street.
And it's wet right ground, yeah.
Sorry, folks. Beep, beep.
The one thing about all this that's so important is, obviously, we've been considering it for a very long time. I think we've actually kind of referenced it a couple times, but this was something that had to happen.
Yes.
Definitely sooner than later. We were leaving a lot of money out there, and you know, obviously, good skilled groomers are hard to come by.
Yes.
And you know what? Now it's like I could easily just sit back and try to learn my way and try to fake it till I make it. But obviously the quality would be there, and that was a big concern of ours. Just by the, hey, watch what I do, listen to me, and hopefully within time you'll learn how to groom, but while you're doing that, we're still going to charge people a lot of money to groom their dogs, not have any experience, and that's what kind of groomers we would be. We didn't want to do that. We wanted it to be a small, short bursts and an actual education to go with it.
Yeah, that's the big thing. We'll be the only groomer in town that has 2 groomers who went through professional training.
Right.
Everybody can say whatever they want about where each other got, learning experience. But if you're learning from the person that worked at the shop that was trained somewhere else, it's not the same as going to the school yourself.
Right.
I went to an actual...
You went to an actual academy.
I went to an actual academy, taken out of my comfort zone.
I'm definitely going out of my comfort zone. There is no doubt about that. It's going to be a little bit challenging to do that.
I'm just getting over a cold, too.
Well, yeah, they all tuned in last week. So, yeah, that's really important. I want to actually go back to the new bather for a second. I don't know this person, but a friend of ours, he actually gave a glowing recommendation a couple days ago. Nice guy, well-to-do guy. I guess I can say he's a professional. Mm-hmm. He's got his own law firm. So when I listen to somebody like that, I'll take it a little bit more serious than just, an average Joe, because he's putting his own reputation out on the line, and he solicited to me without even knowing that she had come over to the shop and everything else. So I got to give that. I'll take his word, and I respect him. He's a nice guy as well. So that was kind of cool to know that we're actually getting somebody like that.
Everything has fallen in line. Some of you folks don't know, a couple years ago, Chris went over to Qatar.
Yep.
It was a private contractor out there, that's all I can say.
Yeah. And people have asked me that. They've said, hey, can you tell us anything about what you did? No, I literally cannot.
Private contractor, military, overseas, that's it. But that was such a big move for us. You were going to be overseas. I'll be a single mom for, who knows how long.
Yeah.
I had to take care of my sickly father who was in a nursing home. I didn't know what I would do if my dad passed and you weren't here.
Yeah.
Just all these different things. Well, my dad passed away while you were still here.
Yeah.
So I had my support system here, because I would have lost it if you weren't here. You took care of some of the most intricate parts of my dad's death that I would just lose it. I was such a daddy's girl. I would have absolutely just lost it.
And for me, flying home from as far as I was, it would actually take 24 hours to actually get back home. So no matter what the emergency was, it was still going to be a day for me to fly home. And I would have been just getting on a plane right from where I lived, which I lived right next to an airport. It still would have taken 24 hours, and that was the minimum amount of time.
So
that was scary.
Everything started falling in line of,
for that.
Hey, you know what? It's okay for him to go. We're going to be okay. It's okay. We were able to get our iPads and stuff like that so we can FaceTime and stay connected that way. We found a way. And then you came back at the perfect time, too.
Yeah.
Because we did have a woman at Shadowwood who told me she could groom and that she knew how to groom, but come to find out she had no knowledge of grooming. She lied to us from the start, lied to Keith, lied to everybody from the start, saying that she was a groomer and she was not.
Right.
So she was fired.
Right.
And then I had nobody to help me.
2 days later, I had a job when I got home, and it turned out that Sarah needed a lot of help because the person was fired, ended up having all these dogs scheduled. I came in on my day off, helped bathing dogs, realized how wonderful I enjoyed myself with the dogs, enjoyed myself there, went back to that job for I think another week. I think it was about a week. I had another Friday off. Came back, worked with you again, and realized right there and then that, what I'm doing right now, I'm not really that happy. I'm not enjoying myself. So some way, somehow, we worked it out where I would actually stay at Shadowwood, quit my job one morning the following week, just said, I'm sorry, I quit.
You dealt with so much bull.
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff, so I just quit, and the same moment that I quit, I drove back and told Sarah, hey, you know what, I quit my job, I'm going to start working with you, if that's okay, and well, that's Shadowwood a year and a half ago from right now. So right now with where, fast forward to where we are right now.
Things are starting to fall in line, too.
Exactly. Just like 2 years ago, everything fell into place then, and it's doing the same thing now.
Our biggest concern for Shadowwood was that, okay, if Chris leaves, I'll have to drop down on dogs because I won't be able to do as many dogs if I have to wash every single one of them of my own.
Yeah.
And we've been doing 2 big dogs a day and 4 small dogs. And small meaning Cocker Spaniel and smaller. So they're sometimes not...
Pomeranian, Shih Tzu.
Yeah, sometimes they're bigger like the Cocker Spaniel, which is a lot of work.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, well, we're going to have to drop down on dogs. We're going to be losing money. And I don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And there's Buddy.
ADD.
So then Carol calls and wants to speak.
Oh, we didn't actually mention her name.
Oh, whoops.
Well, I guess now you guys all know. Yeah, she called. She actually called before everything kind of fell into place.
Yeah, she gave us a call and she was talking to me.
About a week ago now.
Yeah, asking if Keith was hiring even just for kennel work.
Yeah.
So I talked to Keith and...
She came in Monday.
For an interview.
Yes. She came in Monday.
And we kind of just kept her, kept talking about her, all right. And then I told Chris, what can we do?
Yep. I called the actual academy because I was wondering, hey, you know what? When is this next class going to start? Because it's not, you can't just go in tomorrow and start doing things. There is one in St. Louis that you can. This one actually is one group, and they go through the duration all together. And then when when they get done and they graduate, then they open up to the next class. Well, on Tuesday I called up to find out when they were going to start up, and come to find out that they had a lot of people just flake out.
Yeah, either canceled or just didn't show.
Right.
Which is weird because you're supposed to put a $500 down deposit.
Yeah.
To reserve your spot.
I don't even have to do a deposit. She doesn't even want a deposit, which is really bizarre.
Just come down with the check?
She just told me. I called her and she goes, "Well, let me know if you actually can get all your funding together. If you can, just call me." Well, did all the stuff on Tuesday and Wednesday. Pretty much, we had a qualified offer that we were given. I called her up and she said, well, just tell me what day you're going to be moving down here and we'll get you put up on the schedule and you'll be ready to go and start, learning, which I didn't expect that at all.
Well, what's great is that she has 3,000 plus client base.
Yes.
And it's a small shop. It's not a big shop.
I know.
But she has a reputation of a good groomer. Mm-hmm. And most of the time when people come in and want a student to groom their dog, they get a discount.
Yeah, you would think so, but apparently I think she's a solid rate.
Well, she probably can fix anything.
Yeah.
If something happened.
Yeah.
A student,
yeah.
You're going to goof up here and there. You're going to take a dog shorter than you need to, or, one ear is longer than the other, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's bound to happen. Get those problems out down there.
Yeah,
so when you come back here, it doesn't happen.
Right. So
things started falling into place. We gave Carol a call, and she's going to start being our bather. And I don't have to drop down dogs.
Right.
Quality control is still there.
Right.
We have the same tools as the other shop does, so she'll have more, not so much of a culture shock.
Yeah.
As I did when I first started Shadowwood.
Right.
I was like, I didn't have kennels, I didn't have proper blow dryers, all these different things. And I told Keith, I'm like, look, I need a bathing system, I need a new dryer.
Right.
And sure enough, about $3,000 later, I got what I needed.
Yeah.
And now our bathing room is a really nice bathing room.
Yeah.
And we got all the tools that we need. So it'll be a little more easier transition for her than it was for us. So while you're in Springfield, what are you going to do after every day?
Well, I'm actually going to do a groomer diary. And pretty much imagine Captain's log on Star Trek. Yeah, I'm going to geek out on that one. I'm just going to do a daily diary for you guys. It'll be a digital diary so that we'll still do our podcast. We'll do it remotely. I'll do the stuff that we're doing right now, but Sarah will record it here. We'll pretty much FaceTime it, or however I decide to work this out. We'll still do our show, and then there will be a segment, the Groomer's Diary. And each day, I'm going to talk about what dogs I had worked on, things that I had learned. So you guys will actually get a chance to go and experience it with us as well. And that way, I'm documenting the entire experience. Hopefully the instructor will actually come on and we'll do an interview with her, and she could be on the podcast as well. So a lot of things will come out of it. A lot of, hopefully, some really cool, sound bites that we will always be able to treasure forever. And of course, all of this is really, for Claire. Here's a 6-year-old kid that, has already seen her dad leave once before and go far, far away. Now her dad's leaving again, not to go really that far, but still leave to the other side of the state. And, in years from now, when she actually can listen to these podcasts, these are pretty much time capsules for her. It's 2015 right now. Who knows when she's listening to this? Mm-hmm. And it gives her an opportunity to find out, what was my mom and dad like then, opposed to now? And what was that whole podcast thing that they were talking about? Mm-hmm. So all of this is really all about her. It always has been. But, what's cool about it is that you guys who listen to the show get to share it. So, yeah, that's the big news.
The only thing that is that we're working on is 2 pieces of paper that need to be notarized and sent out to us from the state of California.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my gosh.
Who would ever think? We've run into some speed bumps in all of this, but not as bad as you would think. And that's the weird part about this. It has been surprisingly easy. So hopefully it just remains that way.
Yeah, all we need is those 2 pieces of papers. It's supposed to take up to 10 business days, so that's about 2 weeks. And once we get all that turned in, the loan's already approved and ready to go. And then the next step would be going out and getting you a place to live out there.
Yep.
That is for temporary of 3 months.
Yep. And unlike the last place that when I went away, they actually secured all my residence, transportation, and everything. This, unfortunately, I got to do myself. It's a little bit different.
Well, at least we're getting a new car out of the deal.
That is true. All right, well, we're going to move on to the last part of our news story, an actual news article that came out this week. If you are on our Facebook page, you would have noticed it. I think I posted it on May 4th. So that would have been like Tuesday or something like that. I can't remember when May 4th was. So I'm going to play you the soundbite from the news article, talk about it briefly, and then I'm going to move right along.
Now new at 10, an Arkansas man is using Facebook to try and hunt down bait dogs for fighting rings.
Now animal control officers are trying to hunt him down. Animal shelters across the Mid-South are on high alert and warning pet owners about this man. WREG's Katie Rufiner is live at Animal Services in Marion, Arkansas, after talking to officers about the cruel methods people are using to dogfight. Katie.
That's right. Now, they're not sure who this man is yet, but they talked about another horrifying problem they're dealing with recently. It's hard enough for any animal lover to think about someone hurting a dog, let alone forcing them to fight to the death. But they say they're going to extreme lengths now, dog fighters are, to make sure they do just that. It's sickening to think about, but Marion animal control officers say this is how abusers force animals like these to fight each other now.
Instead of a certain location where they're having dog fights, they travel around with the dogs in the back of vehicles.
Officer Becky Blundell says abusers will drive until the noise from the trunk stops and either one or both of the dogs is dead. That's why she says it's crucial people like this man be caught. Jonesboro Animal Control took to their Facebook page to warn all of Northeast Arkansas about a man asking for bait dogs on the social media site. They don't know his name, but Blundell says he and people like him are exactly why the Marion shelter does background checks on anyone adopting an animal. She says pet owners also have to be watchful for dog thieves.
You keep an eye on your pet. Identification tags are always necessary.
There are dogs at the Marion Animal Shelter that are rescues from fighting rings, and Blundell wants people to know they can still make great pets.
If they don't have other dogs in the household, they're wonderful dogs.
While these dogs are safe to rescue others, they need your help.
Called Crime Stoppers. $5,000 reward for any thing leading up to dogfighting.
Now, you can find the number to Crime Stoppers on the website. Our website, WREG.com, will have that posted for you. Now, again, they do background checks here at the Marion Animal Shelter and at Memphis Animal Services. They say they do background checks and also yard checks to make sure the environment is a good one for the dogs and the people coming to adopt are doing it for the right reasons. Reporting live in Marion, Katie Rufiner, WREG News Channel 3.
All right, well, that was the actual news article, news story that came out of Arkansas this past week. This person, they called him a man. I call him a kid. You know, he looks like a kid. If you've been on our Facebook page, you'll see a picture of this kid. Again, it was on May 4th that I posted. This kid is apparently in Missouri, is what the reports are. Even though this report came out of Arkansas, said that he actually was reported to have been out that way. I'm not sure. He has 25 different aliases on Facebook, which is quite amazing that some jerk would actually do that. His name is Aaron Brooks. He is actually one of the faces of dog fighting right now. I thought it was really strange, the concept that the new makeup of dog fighting is just putting two dogs in a trunk, closing the trunk, and letting the two dogs fight it out while the car is moving. So you could be on a highway and you don't even realize that the two people that are in a car, that in the trunk of that car are two dogs fighting to the death. And then, of course, when there's no more sound coming from the back, that's when they pull off the road, open up the trunk, and find one of the dogs dead. So a real morbid and disgusting and sad piece of information out there to be aware of. If you ever see of any of these reported people that are looking to obtain, dogs for fighting, definitely contact your local police department's non-emergency number or animal control. Let them know. They may already know of the person. Just give them heads up on it. I would love to say go and find the person and bash their head in, but we do not condone that. I would actually say don't do it, even though it sounds so nice to actually give these guys the actual justice they deserve. Obviously we wouldn't be any better than they are by taking law in our own hands, so I definitely don't recommend doing it. I feel bad for the dogs that are unfortunately victimized by this, and hopefully within time, and I do hope, laws will become stricter and these a-holes will actually become part of a registry. My whole thing is there should be a registry on these jerks, kind of like a sex offender, except these are animal abusers. Animal abuser registry that actually will forbid these people from ever having any animals in their homes, or be able to adopt or buy dogs from any kind of shelter, rescue, pet store, whatever it is. Hopefully that this would actually one day soon happen, because it's just a sin that these guys are actually able to do it. I put them in the same category as rapists. They just all belong in the same place together. Maybe throw them all on an island and maroon them there to survive. Alright, well, enough dark to go with it, so we're going to move on. The next topic, and is our main topic, which is going to be puppy mills. I'm going to play you guys a soundbite, kind of give you an insight of what goes on when an investigation goes into a home of suspected puppy mills. Really interesting story I actually heard, and then we will sit down and discuss it for a little bit.
The report is saying that it's a puppy mill with 20, at least 20 chihuahuas. Filthy conditions, cruelly confined. From my experience with the puppy mills, they generally they'll tell you they have 20 dogs, they'll have 80 dogs. The term puppy mill is a kind of a derogatory term. A breeder is, if you're looking for a dog, you're looking for a breeder. A breeder is someone that takes pride in what they're doing. They're trying to get a quality product. A breeder is expensive because they put a lot of money into the dogs. A puppy mill, on the other hand, is a derogatory term for a place that just wants to crank out as many puppies as they possibly can. They're not really concerned about quality. They're not really concerned about health. They just want to, there's money in numbers. It's about maximizing profit, and the way you can maximize profit is to minimize care. So I'm not saying that I'm going in with an open mind, but I'm not saying that I hadn't seen it before.
Yeah.
Howdy, ma'am. I'm an investigator with the Houston SPCA, and we got a call about some chihuahuas.
Oh.
Do you have any Chihuahuas out here?
Yeah.
You mind if I take a quick look at them?
Inside the house, the conditions are cramped and dirty. Wernick finds 4 dogs locked in small cages.
So are you breeding these guys to sell? Are you breeding these guys to sell?
No, this is a pet.
Okay. And have they had all their shots and did they go to the vet?
Yeah, I take
Okay. Do you have any paperwork showing that they've had their shots and that sort of thing?
Well, no, these haven't had these shots.
These haven't had their shots? This guy looks a little old here. He has never been to the vet?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he has been to the vet?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any paperwork showing that he's been to the vet?
The dogs appear to be in good body weight and have no obvious health problems. But Wernick is about to make a surprising discovery.
We have a look at the other guys? Looks like you got quite a few in here. Wow.
20 more dogs are living in a closet.
Hey, shut up.
Okay. And have these guys had medical care? And have you got paperwork? They all look healthy. You look like you got is she pregnant or did she just give birth?
She just gave birth to daddy to 3.
Okay.
Oh, I take care of my dog. I buy 3 and 4 bags of food every 2 weeks. You know.
That's okay. That's okay.
The woman claims she looks after her dogs and shows Wernick receipts from her local vet, proving that the dogs receive medical care whenever they need it.
Shepherd.
That's the one I know.
She's not breaking the law, but Wernick is still concerned.
Looks like these guys all appear to be healthy, and I see a lot of evidence of that they're under the care of a vet. The cages appear to be clean. You just have a lot of dogs. With the concentration of this many puppies, if one of these guys gets sick, or if one of these guys is sick, they're all going to be sick. And then you could have a whole bunch of just unhealthy puppies. I don't really want to see that. If they're together like that in a big group, they're going to reproduce. And if you're going to try and cut back on your how many dogs you have and they're together like that, it's going to be difficult because as you're getting rid of some of them, they're going to be making new ones, if you know what I mean. Okay. Well, I appreciate you cooperating with us. And we had gotten a call that the cages were filthy and that they're being cruelly confined, and under Texas law, they're not. All right, bye-bye.
It's a frustrating case for Wernick. All he can do is offer some good advice and monitor the situation.
All right. Well, that was an informative clip for me to actually be able to share with you guys about puppy mills. Now, Sarah, of course, has a lot more on the subject. Why don't you share with all of our listeners what you actually have come up to?
Well, I want to start off with explaining the difference between a puppy mill, a breeder, and someone at home trying to make a quick buck. Right. Puppy mills are just that. They're just a place where they constantly breed females, and the female has litter after litter after litter. They're in filthy conditions because there's so many dogs. It's disgusting. And the females end up being so overbred that they become sick themselves. They have a bunch of different mental issues because they're kept in a little tiny crate. Because they don't have enough room to let them roam. And their feet get all screwed up because they're on grates.
Right.
And then you have actual accredited breeders who try to keep the line of dog pure. Mm-hmm. Which means that they take the absolute most amazing male and breed it with the most amazing female. It's never the first heat. It's always either second, third, or fourth heat. So when they're about 2 to 3 years old, when they're at the prime age, and they only do it once or twice out of that one female. And then they stop. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, these particular breeders take their dogs to show. And they love the purity of the breed. They love the breed itself. So they're going to respect that breed. They keep proper records. So they don't have a daughter breeding with the father or the mother breeding with the son. So they can keep them all separated properly. They're tagged with color-coded neck bands.
Collars?
Collars, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're given each, not necessarily names, because they typically like to let the actual new owners name them. Now, if the dog's going to be used for show, then yes, they name them for them, due to the fact that it is supposed to have their kennel's name to it.
I was going to say that. I was going to ask that question. I've heard that.
So they know where the bloodline came from, the pedigree. I mean, this stuff is so intricate and so documented that you know for a fact where they came from, their bloodline, their grandfathers, great grandfathers, and puppies are still alive. Those are respectable breeders. Yes, you'll spend a lot more money for them if you want a purebred, but at the same time, it's worth it. We are rescue people. We have a rescue pit bull, we have a rescue chihuahua, we have 3 rescue cats. The only one that's in our house that's a purebred is our Akita, and we still rescued her, but she is a purebred and she is papered.
Yeah.
So I would like to have another papered Akita, but I would rather go get a purebred Akita from rescue than from a breeder itself. That's just my opinion, and that's our feelings on it. And then you have folks who, where Katana came from, they took a purebred Akita, another purebred Akita, both have papers from AKC registered, and they breed them together, and they're hoping to make a quick buck.
Right.
They want to sell the puppies for $2,000. They're thinking, oh, wow, 1 litter I can make up to, $20,000 out of a couple litters.
Yep.
Obviously it's not 1 litter, it's a few.
Well, if they had 7 pups, that's still $14,000.
Yeah.
So it's almost
that 2 litters they can make $20,000, and that could be in a year's time have 1 female go into heat twice, have 2 litters, and that's when you borderline puppy mill, but still they want to just make a quick buck. Those people, you see them on Raw Deals with Friends all the time. You see them on all these different pet spots where they say purebred, they'll be ready to go this time, and they have no real knowledge of the actual breed. They're doing it just to make money. And that to me is horrible too.
Right.
Especially when you have so many dogs at the shelter that need homes. And I'm sorry, a miniature poodle is not supposed to have a golden doodle look to it. I'm sorry. But a miniature poodle is supposed to be elegant. It's supposed to be slender. It's supposed to be certain colors. So when you start getting pink-nosed poodles, there's something wrong. Don't breed them. They don't know what's proper in the bloodline to keep breeding. Those are the ones that want to make a quick buck. Unfortunately, there is puppy mills all over the place, and come to find out, Missouri has...
I think we're actually one of the leading states.
We are the leading states with 11 puppy mills that are registered.
That's not that bad. I heard a lot more. Actually, within the last 2 years, I think we were over 20.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. 23 of 100 puppy mills of the year are here in Missouri.
Okay, yeah.
23 of them.
Then it actually has stayed the same. Okay.
It is ridiculous. And there is one here in Newburgh. Earl Light, L-I-G-H-T.
Want me to read that?
That's okay. Of Corn Creek Kennels in Newburgh, Missouri. Newburgh is about 15, 20 minutes away from here. 20?
Maybe not even that. I've been there once and I'm never going back.
Right. They are a multiple offender when it comes to dogs. They're allowed to have multiple offenses against them and still operate. That's what's wrong with our system today. Again,
we need to actually start having real laws to actually protect dogs. And we protect children, we need to protect dogs too. I'm not saying that children and dogs, one varies over the other. They both are literally they're human lives that need to be protected.
Exactly, and nobody's actually standing up.
But if you think about this, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. If you think about it, back in, I think it was even late 70s or even early 80s, there really wasn't child laws either.
True.
So you think about this, here's something to ponder, folks. Back then, when I was born in 81, there were child laws, but they were just coming around back then. And before then, look back to, our parents. Some of them had very abusive upbringings, and look at, our grandparents. They even had worse upbringings with abuse, and so on and so on and so on. It didn't happen until, like I said, I think it was the early 80s that the child protective laws came into place. Well, we're needing to actually progress into animals as well. Because if not, you're just going to have people choke out dogs, cut them up into pieces, and there's no law saying, well, you own them, so you should be able to do what you want with them, which is a load of crap.
It really is. And then there is another breeder. Her name is Pamela Baldwin of Samples Creek Kennel in Egger Springs. Egger Springs, again, is about 15 minutes away from here. All in such a close proximity, and they're all more of a rural area that they can get away with this stuff until someone blows the whistle. Where's his name? Earl Light of Corn Creek Kennels in Newburgh found a veterinarian that he could trust that gave him the serum for euthanasia. And went and put his own dogs down. He injected them and killed them himself on site.
Which, honestly, I mean...
What proper veterinarian would ever give that deadly serum to a random person so they can kill off their own dogs?
One that didn't graduate top of their class.
Shady.
Yeah.
Shady.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Seriously.
Yeah.
This veterinarian needs to be brought on charges along with this Earl Light.
Well, I'm hopeful that his license has at least been suspended until further investigation. But again, without having real laws out there to protect animals, I would think, and I'm just, spitballing this, I would imagine that serum would be considered hazardous material and an actual deadly weapon. So that I would actually hope, and I'm going to say hope, that they would actually classify those as mass weapons of, deadly weapon, whatever. I'm trying to think of the word in my mind, but I would hope that would actually be considered. If you're unlicensed to actually distribute this, administer this, I would hope that would actually be against the law, and their license would be, suspended, plus, any kind of jail time or completely terminated.
See, it is a violation of state law. It says here that it is a violation of state law to give the euthanasia drug to someone that's not a licensed professional, meaning a veterinarian. But these people kept their dogs, obviously, like any other puppy mill, dirty conditions, contaminated water. Dogs were ill. Some of them had wounds where you saw the muscle structure and the bone of the dog.
Oh.
And they kept breeding them. So there was a dachshund that didn't have their back legs, but they kept breeding it.
Wow.
Or they didn't have use of its back legs.
So were they emaciated dogs as well?
It doesn't say the condition of the dog itself. They didn't say that it wasn't underfed or malnourished. I know one of them was the Pamela Baldwin. Her dogs were malnourished. But the Earl Light dogs were just severely injured and not a single one taken care of. Or even attempt to take care of them. Because sometimes people can change. I'm a big person, there can be change. They could have had a change of heart and decided, you know what, I'm going to get my dogs better. And this is how I'm going to do it. There was no record of him trying to get the dogs better. It was just him trying to make money of all these dogs. And some puppy mills, what they do is that they lie all the time to folks that come and pick up the dog. Mm-hmm. They think, okay, I'm getting a purebred, and the person goes, yes, this is a mother and this is a father. Mm. They either show pictures of when the mother and father were the most beautiful in their heyday, and pass it off as it was taken a week ago.
Well, Mr. White, this picture looks like it was taken back in the 70s.
Right. Or they take two dogs that had nothing to do with the puppy that they are purchasing, and those 2 dogs are the only ones that are kept up properly. Where they're nice and pretty, they look gorgeous, but you don't see anything else because everything else is behind the scenes. You don't see the actual mother and father that it came from. The mother was all tweaked out of shape, and all of a sudden you buy this cute little beautiful puppy, you take it home. 6 months later, when you've already bonded with this pup, it's starting to have heart complications.
Yep.
Isn't growing properly. Enlarged hearts. All these different medical problems.
Could even have brain problems, which would cause...
Yes. Chemical imbalances.
Yes.
Which is caused by the overbreeding.
And if you guys wonder, that's when your dog randomly attacks somebody or you for no reason and becomes a threat to you. And you're just hoping, maybe I just need to change their diet. No, maybe you actually just have a dog that unfortunately was bred incorrectly by a puppy mill, and this is what comes out of it.
And sometimes puppy mills get so bad that they don't have anybody come out to their actual breeding facility. They meet them somewhere. Oh, here, just meet me at Kroger. Meet me at the grocery store. Meet me at Walmart. And I'll hand the dog off to you then. And that's a red flag, too, because if they don't want you seeing their property, there's something wrong.
And, they as you guys heard in the clip, it actually said that puppy mill is a derogatory term. You know what? That is the classification of what it is. I don't agree that it's derogatory. I think it's an accurate term. Because, going back to the actual clip itself, the lady who actually had that quote-unquote puppy mill, reported 20 Chihuahuas were in the house. Well, obviously, it was a lot more than 20. And she ended up having vet bills, and she had different things from vets saying that her dogs had gone. Not all of them, but she had some. Yeah, they keep enough information just to
keep the state happy.
Yeah, exactly. So they're not breaking the law yet. They're teetering. Their dogs do not have the shots, as you heard in the clip. They don't have shots. A couple of them do. Some of them actually do keep the kennels clean, as in the clip. Now, it wasn't really a clean environment, but it was clean enough to keep them out of trouble. But, it's okay to be on the radar. It just doesn't, you can't fly over it. You have to stay under the radar. So that's the problem with this. And again, comes...
And the same thing with buying dogs from stores.
Yes.
Where do you think they get their dogs for cheap and able to sell it to you for $6,000?
Well, that's one thing I don't see here. You remember going back, living back in California, you would go to the mall, and you would go in, there would be a pet store, and you'd go in, and there's all these cute dogs and cats, and their puppies and kittens, obviously. And these dogs are bouncing around, look at me, I'm in a glass bubble here, come and play with me. Obviously, we all know where those dogs come from. And it's like, you're going to spend $500. I mean, I remember we would look at some of the dogs just because always loving animals. When you go in there.
This is also before we actually got really involved in animals.
Oh, yeah. This is so many years ago.
Yeah, this is before I started grooming.
This is before Claire was born.
Yeah, I was still a teenager when we did this.
Yeah, I think you're 1920.
About 18, 19, actually.
Really?
18.
Well, it was, you'd go in, I remember going to those places and looking at the animals because they're gorgeous. I mean, every animal is, just absolutely fun to look at. But I would look at the price tag and go, why would people spend this? We're talking upwards of even over $2,000, and you don't really know where these dogs came from.
Yeah,
it came from a farm.
If I was the type to go in and find a purebred Akita, they go anywhere between $15,000 or $1,500 to I've seen some as high as $3,500. And I want to know, and I want to see documentation, paperwork, saying that you bred this male with this female this female only had this many litters, and in each litter, these many puppies survived, because, you know, not all dogs survive the birthing process. I want to see the documentation, especially if I'm spending this kind of money. I want to see it. You go to this pet store to buy a dog.
They actually say farm. If you ever actually, I've noticed it. It'll say farm. I remember from back then. It'll say so and so farm.
Yeah.
And I thought that was always. I didn't know at the time what that meant. But yeah, I mean, how bizarre. You know, I haven't seen one of those kind of pet stores out here. Even when I go to other parts of Missouri, I've never actually seen one.
Petland in Springfield.
Really?
Yes, they were a topic of puppy mill buyers.
Huh.
Yep.
I'll have to take a look at that.
We went down there, and they had a protest going on once.
Oh.
That was before you started grooming, though.
Oh, okay. I probably just couldn't...
It was, again, before we really got active in the pet health world.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
It hurts. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well... So, I guess that kind of...
Oh, it just ticks me off. The entire thing just really, really ticks me off.
It does. It's a hard topic. You know, we haven't covered it. We haven't talked much about it, but we have local things around, and you know, I know from the people that we work closely with, they're watching it very close, and this stuff won't happen. You know, every time something has kind of made its way into this area, we've had reports of feral cats being absolutely attacked. Well, not absolutely. They were attacked by a fight dog, pretty much to train the dog. The person ended up filming it. I was brought in on it from a couple people, talked to somebody in the police department. They were obviously well aware of it. Unfortunately, the person wasn't found, but it was most likely just somebody who found their way into town, did this, and moved right along. When it comes here, it's pretty well noticed, and you may do it once, but you'll be caught the second time. So that is a kind of a positive when it comes to it all, but definitely need stronger laws.
And we need more humans with a backbone to stand up and say, hey, you know what, this is wrong. Back off.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely one of those moments. Well, I think that we've concluded this week's podcast.
Oh, just one little thing. I want to make sure to say everybody knows to give Chris a big happy birthday. I know it was put on our Facebook page for the Groomer Next Door, but hasn't been said in the actual podcast. I feel bad because I made him work on his birthday. And
that was the worst day possible. If it could go
Pyrenees, wrong. An Australian Shepherd, a Cocker Spaniel.
Australian Shepherd D-Shed, of all the things. D-Shed.
And a dog that needed to be groomed 4 months prior.
Oh, man.
I felt bad.
I got railroaded. At least the smooth-coated collie didn't show.
Yes.
I don't think I could have survived.
Yeah. So, a big happy birthday to you, and I'm so sorry I made you work. Now that you're becoming a groomer, you can take the day off and not worry about it.
I don't have to worry about it for the next couple of years. Next year it'll be a Saturday, the following year will be a Sunday.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then the following year, who knows where I'm going to be. Space. All right, everybody. Well,
the final frontier for dog grooming.
I'll be the first person grooming a dog in space.
Why not? I like Martians and stuff.
Right. Well, I'm Chris Green. Have a pet-tastic week.
And I'm Sarah Green, making sure everybody realizes life is so short. Play with your pet.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, guys, it's my bedtime.